I was watching YouTube the other day. There's another political commentator on YouTube on the other side of the aisle, and he was basically reacting to or responding to a TikTok video. And there's been several videos like this circulating. People basically warning Republicans, hey, wait for it. It's going to be a big celebration. It's going to happen when a certain day comes. And it struck me, it just, the elation and the excitement about it, it just kind of got me a little bit. If there's one thing I can say with absolute clarity after all my years as a conservative and a Republican, it's this. Not once have I ever celebrated the death of someone I disagreed with or didn't vote for. Not once. And I think it can speak for most conservatives when I say that. Our disagreements are almost always about policy, not about the person. Sure, snide comments get tossed around, some fair, some not, but the humanity of the person remains intact. For decades on my blogs and now on this channel, I've tried to keep the focus exactly there. I'll challenge someone's politics, I'll push back hard on their positions, but I stop short of attacking the person because once you start hating the person, you stop hearing the argument. That's part of the problem, I think. Politics has turned into a sport where the goal isn't to win an argument. It's to erase the person that you're arguing with. And that's why I'm making this video. I watched the reaction online when Charlie Kirk was assassinated. People cheering, celebrating, laughing. I mean, in America, what happened? I saw similar reactions after 4 assassination attempts against President Trump. Sad faces, not because it happened, but because it didn't succeed. Again, in America? What happened? And now, even with Senator Lindsey Graham's passing, the same thing. Elation, glee, champagne bottles popping. I can think of many people on the left whose views I vehemently disagree with, but not a single one that I actually hate. Not a single one that I want gone from the planet. Not a single one whose death would make me smile. It's just not in my character. It's not in my blood. And yet, the people calling me evil, corrupt, hateful, diabolical, they're the ones cheering when someone they dislike dies. They're the ones warning Republicans to get ready for the day Trump is gone, promising mass celebrations the likes of which no one has ever seen. Isn't that evil? Isn't that hateful? Isn't that diabolical? How can someone who cheers the death of a political opponent claim moral superiority? Maybe these people are on the fringe. I hope they are, because if they're not, what does that say about the country? Have we really drifted so far from basic decency that celebrating death is now normal? Even if it's just for clicks. The fact that it gets clicks is troubling enough. This is where we've lost the plot. We've stopped seeing the person. When you see Chuck Schumer or Tucker Carlson, when you see Joe Biden or Donald Trump, when you see Rachel Maddow, Jesse Waters, Ben Shapiro, or Joe Rogan, what do you actually see? Do you see the person or just the view? Do you see a human being with a life or just a political avatar? Because when someone calls me evil or immoral because of how I vote, those comments aren't meant to challenge my argument. They're meant to strip away my humanity. They're meant to make me less of a person so it becomes easier to hate me. And here's the uncomfortable truth. That's how dehumanization works. When you stop seeing someone as a person, you stop caring what happens to them. You stop caring whether you're fair. You stop caring whether you're even accurate. It's the same psychological mechanism that allows a serial killer to view a victim as an object instead of a human being. That's not healthy. When you erase the person, anything becomes justifiable. Behind every political view is a human being with hopes, dreams, fears, family, memories, flaws, strengths, a whole life that has nothing to do with politics. Most of us aren't living every second breathing political oxygen, even if we're doing it for a living. We're living normal lives. We're raising kids, going to work, laughing with friends, dealing with stress, trying to make sense of the world. But when the camera turns on, all you see is the view, not the person holding it. It's a bit of an aside, but this brings me to a decision I made recently on TikTok. TikTok has always been my fun space, goofy stuff, light stuff, humor. I'm not a comedian, but people seem to enjoy it. Then I asked myself, do I mix in some political commentary there? Do I let people see both sides of me? Every platform tells you to pick a niche, stay in your lane, don't confuse the audience. But when we niche our lives down like that, we flatten ourselves. We become one-dimensional characters. Easy to categorize, easy to dismiss, easy to hate. Again, if you see me or you see Chuck Schumer or Rachel Maddow or Jesse Waters or Tucker Carlson or Donald Trump or whoever, you're just seeing who they are on TV, what opinions they hold. You're not seeing the whole person. And it makes me think all the time, like, if you put the human behind the view, maybe it helps you to digest things just a little bit easier. Maybe, just maybe, my political views become easier to understand when people also see the human behind them. Maybe disagreement becomes easier when the person isn't erased. Maybe it becomes harder to hate someone when you've seen them laugh, joke, or just be normal. Think back to the Osbournes. On stage, Ozzy was the Prince of Darkness, a character, a persona, a spectacle. But on the reality show, you saw the man, the dad, the husband, the human being. Seeing the person changes the way you interpret the performance. Politics works the same way. I'm not defined by my politics. They're a small part of who I am, just like they're a small part of who anyone is. But when we judge people solely by their political views, we erase everything else about them. And I get it. Some people have influence. Some people have power. The person I was talking about at the beginning of this video has 372,000 subscribers. Politicians write laws and influencers shape views. But again, at the end of the day, they're just people. So maybe, just maybe, showing more of the person behind the opinion helps us disagree without humanizing. Maybe it helps us argue without hating. Maybe it helps us remember that behind every view is a human being trying to make sense of the world, just like you and just like me. Disagreeing with somebody is one thing. We've been doing that for generations. But it's this other side of things, this hatred, and I mean downright hatred, that just really makes me worry about where we are going as a country. And I don't care if you're a Republican or a Democrat, it should worry the hell out of all of us.